Hi y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the birth of the Christmas tree. Now, Christmas trees predate Christianity and Christmas celebrations all the way back to the pagan midwinter festivals. These bringing in the green traditions kind of tie over into Christianity early on, and a lot of the early Christian churches did not like this, but they also kind of realized that people needed that bringing in the greens to help battle that midwinter depression. Now, as far as mainstream America having Christmas trees, it takes us a while to get there. The most famous Christmas tree in history was probably Queen Victoria's. The London Illustrated Time runs a photograph or a lithograph of her and her family around their Christmas tree. Her husband, Prince Consort Albert, gives her one. Of course, he's of German descent. And this comes out in the 1840s in the newspapers in England. Now, whether we want to admit it or not, Americans usually copy the fashions from Europe. So a couple years later, America runs just about the same image, and the only real difference is they take away her crown and they take away his Prince Consort badge, and suddenly they're a wholesome American family enjoying their Christmas tree. Now, in these early images of Christmas trees, you will notice that they're very layered. So you'd find the perfect tree and then hack out all the branches to where you get these shelves like the one behind me, and it's really rather sparse to our modern concept as opposed to the big normal modern tree that you see behind me today. But this is really the birth of the modern idea of a Christmas tree. Now, children were not really involved in Christmas early on. For most Christmas celebrations, it was a very adult, drinking, rowdy holiday that really symbolized just letting loose and feasting. And it really resembled more of a Halloween-like celebration as we think of it today. But the Christmas tree early on in America in many homes was used as a way of serving hors d'oeuvres or food actually at your party. So a lot of the items on the tree were edible. If you look closely at some of these historic images, there's lots of little baskets and little cones and all kinds of different little things, and it's really just mostly edibles. I've read some instances where a hostess would have a party and the tree would be all lit, all the guests would come and eat everything off the tree, and then the tree would actually be removed and some other hors d'oeuvre or pre-dinner snack would be brought out and put on that same table. So the long decorating season as we think of it today really didn't exist. Once Santa Claus starts bringing Christmas trees with him, he brings them with him on Christmas Eve. The decorations on the tree are usually your children's gifts, and the kids opening the door to that lit Christmas tree and having that wow moment of taking their dolly or their train set off the tree is the modern idea of wrapping paper as we have it today. But to get you started, what I'd really love to do is kind of walk you guys through creating your own Queen Victoria Christmas tree or Victorian themed tree. The first thing you need to think about is changing your modern idea of what a Christmas tree should be, and really it being rather sparse and what I'm going to show you mainly full of food. Who doesn't like to snack and run Christmas? Glass beads were really popular. Almost every instance of a historic tree I have seen, as far as a fancy Queen Victoria one, has some kind of beading on it. These are the cheap modern plastic versions, but you really can't tell a difference when it comes down to it. So I also want to make it to be accessible to what you guys might have in your house, or what's easily found at Hobby Lobby or some of those major chain stores. Now, this is actually a reproduction of a Victorian basket that's used for serving food. You put berries or nuts or candies in these little baskets, and these little baskets are quite expensive, and you still have to make them once you get the paper cutouts. So I thought you guys are not going to have access to these kinds of replicas, so why not make our own version? And actually, this is a dog food can that we will cover today. I'm going to do our tree behind me, mostly gold and white, but I wanted to show you, you guys can do whatever you want to. As in my last video, your color options, there's no real rules when you're crafting all your own Christmas decorations. You can use any color combination that you like. But this is an old dog food can, tuna can. I would take off the wrapper just so it doesn't show through whatever you're working on. You could spray paint these if you just wanted to use them plain and add some ribbon. But what I've done is got plain white tissue paper, and I've cut it into a little square, and we're just going to wrap it up. once you get it all good and wrapped and covered, you can't see anything inside. This is the kind of ribbon that's the plastic kind that you get for wrapping presents. I'm sure Mom has some of these in the closet in her bag of wrapping things. Every mom has one of those, right? So we're going to place the can upside down to where the bottom is facing us. We're going to use just a little bit of hot glue, or if you want this to be kid friendly, it'll take a little longer to dry, but you can use regular old glue, craft glue. And then we're just going to set these ends down in, make sure you don't have a turn in your ribbon, and then add that next layer in. These ribbons that I'm using are 17 inches long. That way it gives you enough hang to where you can actually get things into it. Now, I usually start decorating or crafting Christmas decorations in July. I'm the curator of a historic house museum in Nashville, and once you really get into this, you will burn yourself and you will lose all the skin on the top of your fingers. Now, this looks kind of gross, so I have just this little piece of scrap paper. I'm going to get these positioned like I want them, and then just press this piece of scrap paper down on the bottom, and that way if someone does see the bottom of your decoration, it just looks nice and clean. Now, you could leave it like this if you wanted to and just go ahead and hang it straight on the tree, but those cords want to kind of move around a little bit. So I like to stabilize it just a little bit more than I probably need to and go around and glue all those little pieces down. When you're gluing or cutting out, it's important to put something down on the table that you're using so you don't mess it up. These little craft mats are great. They're a great resource to have. That way if you're using an X-Acto knife or hot glue like I'm using right now, you don't ruin your dining room table or wherever you're crafting. So get this all glued down, and then just to add a little extra, I like to add a little extra ribbon that's a little wider around just to cover up those little areas that I've glued. I'm using a professional glue gun, so it gets super hot. So be careful gluing out there, guys. It can be a little dangerous. So, and then you can just hang it on your tree. Super easy, super cool to make. Fill it up with some nuts or candy of your choice, and then just hang it on up on that tree. And then your visitors can come eat all that they want. Just get it balanced on the tree there. And there you guys go. So that's a quick, easy idea of decorating your tree for Christmas. Now, another thing that's super easy to do is to make paper flowers. Paper flowers are one of my favorite decorating things, no matter what time of year it is. You can use these for Easter, you can use these all times. So I've just got 2 layers of regular gift wrapping paper, and I'm just going to cut this down a little bit because we don't want giant flowers. If you want giant flowers, which you could do if you wanted to, you wouldn't cut this down, of course. It'll just make a really big flower. If you don't want to use tissue paper, on the red and green one that I used as an example for different colors, I actually use this crepe paper, which will last forever. It's for like streamers for parties, and you could get a whole bunch of those done with that. Now, these squares do not have to be perfect. They do not have to be even. We're going to fold them up and crunch them up, so it doesn't really matter. So once you get your papers cut, me cutting that up gives me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sheets of paper, and I'm going to put the largest piece of paper on the inside or the outside, and then I'm just going to accordion fold this back and forth. Now, if you're doing a lot of different colors, if you want to have a lot like a rainbow tree or something, you can get the variety packs of tissue paper at the store, and they go a long way in making these flowers. I'm rushing myself a little bit. I need to slow down and enjoy the process. Don't get stressed when you're crafting. Just want this video to not be too terribly long. So once you get it accordion folded up, piece of florist wire like we used in the last video when we made our kissing ball, which is still up there behind me. I don't think you guys can see it. Twist this real tight, and then you're just going to pull these layers out eventually. But what I like to do is rough up the ends so that they don't look super perfect, and it makes it look a little bit more like a carnation if you do this instead of just the rough edges of the paper. So I'm just adding little cuts, maybe 1/2 inch on all these little sheets, not being too careful about it. Makes a big mess. Then when you fluff this out, you have to pull each layer individually, and you got to be careful not to rip the tissue paper. But each layer you pull apart creates another layer of petals on your flower. And then a little shaping of it. It takes a little practice. You'll get the hang of it. So I'm still trying to figure out what to do with my YouTube page. I'm having fun trying to think of creative things for you guys to do at home. If you have suggestions of things that you would like to learn how to make historic Christmas-wise, this isn't going to be just a Christmas channel, but a lot of what I do in my job is create decorations for Christmas. And I love the history of Christmas because it's overlooked and whitewashed. And that's what we're going to focus on for the next month for sure, because it is December already. But once we get through that, we're going to get into some other topics. But once you get that all fluffed out, it makes a perfect little flower. And you can also just wire this in on the tree and cover up some bare spots. And again, if you're using other colors, it might show up a little bit differently. But those little white flowers go a long way. Last year, at work, I did a huge 12-foot Christmas tree, and I had all the staff making little paper flowers, and we did the whole tree in white, and it was just really gorgeous. So I hope you guys will take this Victorian inspired food holder basket and try it in your home. If you do, take a picture and tag me on the Southern Antiquarian on Instagram. I have my own separate Instagram for the page now, as well as on YouTube if you tag me. I'd love to see what you guys come up with. And if you are enjoying these videos, please let me know. Please subscribe to my channel, and that helps me know what's going on and who's interested. So thank you guys for coming by again and checking out my channel. I hope to start putting out videos every week. And if you guys, again, have any ideas of things you'd like to see, just let me know. Have a good day, guys, and stay safe out there.